What's up, everybody? It's Gary V, and this is the Sports Card Strategy Show, because you know this, there is no off-season.
Yes, this is DJ Ski.
I'm Jeff Wilson.
Hey guys, Andy Broom, Vice President CGC Cards.
Hey, this is Jason Howard with Panini.
Yo, I'm Q Harrison.
This is Teapot from Sports Card Investor.
I'm loving the content.
Loving the content here.
The Sports Card Strategy Show.
The Sports Card Strategy Show.
This is the Sports Card Strategy Show with your man, Paul Hickey. What's good? Part of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network, the #1 place for advice on how to make money flipping sports cards. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, there is no off-season.
You already know, there is no off-season.
No off-season!
All right, you ready to rock?
Ready to go.
When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because sometimes when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own. Thugging it out on your own.
The kids better buy my rookie card now, because after this year, the price ain't coming down.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Hickey. It's time to sit back, listen, learn, and earn with me on the Sports Card Strategy Show. You know, Lefty, Q Harrison's pretty eloquent in how he describes what we do for people in our intro there. Yeah. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Today's episode, you're just going to learn from Paul's mistakes. It's just that simple. It's just that simple, everybody. Just going to learn from my F-ups time and time again. That's what it's all about. Now, a lot of you are premium members at nooffseason.com. You know that Lefty and I answer your questions on the premium pod every week. And a lot of times I'll be like, somewhat aggressive with my answers, but it honestly comes from a place of like, I've made that mistake. So I get like almost mad that one of you could make it. So I don't mean to come across as mad at you all. It's more of like, I'm mad at the mistake that I made, and I want to like emphasize to you guys not to make it. And we're going to talk about a big one that I made today. And then we're going to talk about some other ways that you guys can make money flipping sports cards, like top sports cards to buy now from our sports card rankings. We're going to talk about what is the difference between Optic Holo Preview from Donruss and Optic Holo from Optic. We'll talk about, is one better than the other? Does the pop count matter? I'm going to make a statistical case for why Jaden Daniels 2024 Prizm Silver PSA 10 could tank in value over the next 6 months. But first, Lefty, we need to talk about an eBay sports card scam that happened to me that everybody needs to know about. But real quick, before we get into that, two things. Number one, let's give quick live chat love. Kaiser Sose, PJT, Rusty Emma Gart, Terry Anderson, Pick Six Cards, Andrew McDade, George Schurer, and any of you who chime in through the live chat throughout the show at youtube.com/Paul Hickey will get some love. I know most of you are on Apple and Spotify. So I want everybody, the other thing I wanted to bring up is more and more people are listening to our show, which I'm very grateful for, Lefty. And I know you are too. We talk about like, how do we continue to grow the podcast audience, that kind of thing. And I think we just continue to see a lot of organic growth. I think we come up in the, Spotify and Apple search for sports cards. I think there's a lot of great word of mouth about us out there. I think we do a good job at card shows that we go to. Like, I know we were at Fanatics Fest over the next couple of weeks. After Fanatics Fest, I saw a rise in listenership. I expect to see the same thing after the National. So it's a process of growing the audience. But what's funny is the more that the numbers go up, the more we get comments about our intro. And so like the comments that we get, so you can leave a review on Apple and Spotify, but you can comment on Spotify. And I mean, I will say, like, we haven't really gotten a negative comment in a long time, like super negative. but we have gotten comments like just about the intro. And so I'm curious, like, I really want, I'm open to changing the intro, but I want to know from everybody, from as many people as possible, because I don't want to deter new listeners, but I don't want to piss off like the tried and true family who loves our intro. Because I know there's people that love our intro, and you can't make everybody happy. But I'm wondering if we could do like a little youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Go to this video at youtube.com/Paul Hickey, the one about why you need to know about this eBay sports card scam, and comment on not only the scam that I'm about to talk about, but just put like intro stays, intro good, or too long, or something. Give me some feedback about the intro, because people say it's too long. It used to be like over 2 minutes, and now it's like 90 seconds. I personally like it, but I mean, what do I matter? I don't know, Lefty. Comments about the intro, Lefty, real quick.
I mean, it makes sense that is the review that's being left, since that's literally the first thing they could potentially ever hear from us.
Yeah.
So their first impression is yo, and I love it.
There's a lot of people that have been on the show talking about what show they're listening to.
Yeah. And we're always open to revision.
To me, it's got like an old school sports talk radio intro vibe. But I'll be 44 in a month. A month from tomorrow, I'll be 44. So like I'm old, I guess. You're only like what, 33? You just turned Magic Johnson at Michigan State 33. So last week. So again, happy birthday, Lefty, from last week. So yeah, I mean, we're slight little age gap here. It could be like a, hey, just this is the sports card strategy show. Why are you doing anything longer than that? And that's fair. We've had a lot of.
I think of like all the radio shows,
rock music back in the day.
The radio shows that I grew up listening to. They're like 105.3 The Fan and DFW is what I listened to notoriously. Like my sister would drive her own car to school, so she did not have to listen to 105.3 The Fan with me. But it would be like yo, this is 105.3 The Fan.
Yeah, and like a bunch of people that have like doing shout outs and all that.
Yeah. It would be very similar. And then, then they would get on and be like, "What's up? Welcome to Monday." So it's very similar to that.
Yeah, I am not.
We just got a lot of keyboard warriors, man. Come on.
Yeah, and I appreciate the feedback. So anyway, I mean, for real, like, don't be a dick about it, but just come on to youtube.com/Paul Hickey. I'm open to feedback. If you're new, give a little context too. Like, hey, Paul, I've listened to the last 2 episodes, or hey, Paul, here's how I found you and Lefty, blah, blah, blah. Or I've been listening to you and Lefty for the last 3 years, like whatever.
I Googled 2 sexiest podcasters in the world, and you guys came up.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I have a history of knowing how to do podcast intros, and I hope we get that.
I hate you because you hate Aaron Rodgers, but I love the intro. Whatever you want to put.
Whatever floats your goat,
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, and if you're a Michigan State Spartan fan, I will just do whatever you say. So if you're like, hey, the intro's too long, whatever, okay, good, great, just no intro. It's just going to be Lefty and I coming on. Like, what's up? Listen, learn, earn. Let's go.
Yeah, it's just start. Hey.
Yeah, nothing. Just, hey, sports card strategy show. Listen, learn, earn. Let's get into it. Okay, and maybe that's what it needs to be. Who knows? Okay, let's get into this story that I have for you guys. All right. So as you all know, I am a huge proponent of buying on eBay. There's for several reasons. I'll try to keep this part short. They have the biggest selection of sports cards. They have the most listings. Like you can't prove that otherwise. The proof is in the data there. They have auctions. So the auctions, like there's obviously buy it now, best offer, all that, but a lot of platforms don't have auctions, and the reason why other platforms don't have auctions is because they don't have as many visitors to the site. Like in order to have successful auctions, you have to have visitors to the site in mass, concurrent users constantly to give the seller the most value for their item. So the fact that, number one and number two kind of go together, but I think any site without auctions isn't going to give the seller the opportunity to truly get the most bang for their buck. And it's not going to give the buyer the opportunity to really get a good deal, because if you just allow people to list cards for whatever they want to list them for, then you don't really have true market value. Auctions give true market value. And the third reason I really love eBay is because, and this is probably the biggest reason, is because they protect the buyer. They do the best job protecting the buyer. Not that other sites don't. I know MySlabs has there's other places that protect the buyer and try to protect the buyer. But eBay, in my experience, has done the best job protecting the buyer. And when you protect the buyer, it's better for the seller. So one of the ways that eBay has done a great job protecting the buyer is through their authenticity guarantee program. We've had their director of sports cards on the show, Mike Nett, this year. We're going to have him on the show again in a couple of weeks because I'm going to interview him at the National. Great guy. Came on, talked about the PSA grading at checkout feature not too long ago and explained a little bit more about that to us. And in that process, he kind of talked about, how important it is to protect the buyer. And he talked about the authenticity guarantee program. And he clarified that it would be $250. Any card listed at $250 or any card selling for $250 or more would be covered by the authenticity guarantee program. So that gives confidence to the buyer. And so a couple of weeks ago on the Sports Card Strategy Show, I said to Lefty and to all of you, I said, one of these days I'm going to get into a 1986 Michael Jordan Fleer, PSA graded. I don't know if it's going to be PSA graded or what it is, but I would like to get a PSA graded copy of that card. It's hard to find at card shows because they're overpriced at card shows by about 30%. Some of you remember this. And I said, one strategy I'm going to try to employ is to find a auction that is ending at a weird time and that is listed by a seller that is not one of the top consignment houses. Because, my thought there was, I'm going to get a good deal and I'm going to be protected by the eBay authenticity guarantee program. So I found one and I bid on it and I won it. And it's a PSA 1. So I won a PSA 1, and at the exact time I won it was Thursday, July 10th, Thursday, July 10th. So 11 days ago. Lefty and I were just about to get on to record the premium pod. And I said to Lefty, I'm super pumped because I won it for $2,023. It's about $200 under recent comps and 74 bids. I just threw in a bid, like max bid, as I was literally walking around my kitchen, probably filling up my water bottle before I came on to record.
You're so hydrated.
Got to stay hydrated. I drink more water than anybody else. Guarantee that. That's why I have to pee like every 3 minutes, but I'm okay with that. And I said, okay, well, look, this auction's ending at we record the premium pod at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm like, this is great. It's ending at around 2 p.m. Eastern time. This is just what I wanted. So I go, all right, I'm going to throw in my final bid here. Well, I win it. I'm pumped. I get on with Lefty pre-show. We're talking about the show. I'm like, okay, so I'm good. And what was interesting about it is eBay, another thing that eBay has done many things in the last year or 2 years that Lefty and I were saying prior to the last 2 years that they should do, right? They've implemented a lot of things that we had said on this show that they should do to make the experience better. One of them is making people pay for their auctions, right? We've talked about that a lot. So I noticed, okay, this is great. They're making me pay for my auction. They said I had an hour to pay for my auction before I was auto charged. So I was like, well, I'm just going to pay now because I want this card. So I pay for the card. I get on with Lefty. As Lefty and I are recording the premium pod last week, I click on the order and I see that it's not covered by the authenticity guarantee, even though it's sold for $2,023. So I'm miffed. I'm baffled. I'm scared. I click on the seller profile. I read the reviews, and all the reviews say, do not buy from this seller. It's a scam artist. Basically what the scam is the seller ships something to the street, but not the correct street address. An address on the street, but not the correct street address. And the scam is that it shows as delivered, but that the buyer can't track it down. So because the buyer can't or will have trouble or a long time tracking it down, the scammer is banking on the fact that either the seller or the buyer will give up, or the buyer will not be able to win a dispute because the item shows as delivered. So if the item shows as delivered, the scammer is hoping, or maybe maybe they've actually cashed out money on this. And the scammer continues to try and perpetuate this scam by sending it to the wrong address. So what I was scared of is, thank you to those people that put these reviews up there. What I was initially scared of is like what they're saying is you might not be able to track down this package, and because it shows as delivered, you're not going to really be able to win a dispute because you don't have any evidence showing that the scammer put the wrong item in the package. So, I thought, okay, look, this is eBay. There's a reason why I shop on eBay. Surely it's all going to work out. But what sucks about it, and it feels like it almost feels like physically you literally got punched in the gut when you find this stuff out, because it's like $2,000 down the drain. I'm thinking, okay, I used $700 in spendable funds and $1,300 on my debit card because I don't have a credit card. I'm the Dave Ramsey of sports cards, Rusty. So I don't have a credit card. I use debit card. So there goes $1,300. There goes $700 in spendable funds. And now I'm thinking, okay, this guy is going to send it to the wrong street address. He's going to put God knows what in the envelope. And he's probably not going to use my name on the envelope either, which is another part of the scam. So I email some contacts of mine at eBay, and I let them know about this, and I let them know, hey, I'm going to go through the proper channels here as a customer, but you guys need to know about this because this guy needs to be like, after this gets resolved on my end, this seller profile needs to be banned from eBay. Like first of all, the fact that he wasn't already banned from eBay in the first place is ridiculous. The fact that he's still able to do this is ridiculous. I also wanted to let them know, why didn't this go through the authenticity guarantee? I think I want to keep reverting back to that because, again, like, eBay needs to fix that. Now, this seller is in Canada, okay, and I'm in the US. That shouldn't matter, right? Like, I don't think there's any human being on the planet that would argue with me on that. And if somebody from eBay says, well, yeah, but sales from one country to the other aren't covered by the authenticity guarantee, my simple response would be twofold to them. A, publicize that so we know about it. B, fix that, right? Like there's no way that you should be promoting an authenticity guarantee program at everything $250 or above gets covered by this thing. And then all of a sudden, there's some like exception to it because if something comes from Japan or Australia or Canada or wherever to the United States, how did it not get caught by the authenticity guarantee program, right? Because if not for the authenticity guarantee program, I would have read the reviews. Now, I'm not trying to make an excuse for myself. I said you were all going to learn from Paul's mistakes today. Learn from my mistakes. Read the freaking reviews, right? I should have read the reviews. That's on me. But also, eBay protects the buyer and they protect the buyer through the authenticity guarantee program. Lefty, a couple more things before I show the video of what the scammer actually sent me, because it's kind of funny. Number one, again, thank you to the people who left reviews on this person's profile, because I don't think I would have known anything about this. I think I would have just expected a Michael Jordan PSA 1 1986 to show up, and when it didn't show up, I would have been, and it said delivered, I would have been caught off guard and backtracking a lot. So because of them, I was able to prepare for this. And some of the preparation steps I took included, I tried to cancel the order. Okay. The scammer obviously denied the cancellation request, which sucked. I messaged the seller and I said, look, do the right thing here. I know what you're doing. All the reviews say what you're doing. Do the right thing. Like, either ship me the item I actually ordered, which I'm hoping you have the item. If you don't have the item, do the right thing and just cancel the order and refund my money. Because I said, ultimately, eBay is going to take care of this. So just do the right thing right now. Well, the guy, what sucks about that, and this is where it gets into the psychology of this kind of thing. If you've ever had anything like this happen to you in life, then you can relate to me on this. It doesn't just happen with eBay. I'm sure some of you have had things just happen in your life that are similar to this. Maybe you've had items stolen, right? So it's kind of a thing where it gets into the psychology of it. So now this person is like taunting me through the messaging app on eBay, right? They're like, you're the scammer. And they're calling me names, and it's kind of like, you have to be, you have to go through like mental exercises to kind of like stay. So, I mean, it's been a test for me over the last 11 days, because I've had to live my life knowing that I flushed $2,000 down the toilet for the time being, having trust in eBay that they're going to rectify this at some point. And I'll get to that in a second as well, an update on that. But it's tough. It's like, you got to live your life. You got to go to sleep at night. You got to get your kids where they need to go. You got to, like be present for your significant other, your spouse, whatever. And so it's like, it's been a trying 11 days. I know a lot of people have a lot of more serious stuff in their life that they're dealing with, but hey, $2,000, it kind of sucks, right? Especially when you're trying to make other moves on eBay, right? Like, I probably would have bought other cards in the meantime, but I've been kind of hamstrung by this issue with eBay. So I want to get to a couple of updates. So I got lucky in this, I think, in that the seller, the scammer, shipped it UPS. So it was like Canada Post. Somehow, though, however they shipped it, it got into UPS's system. Now, this is good for me because I use a UPS mailbox for all of my business stuff. All nooffseason.com premium members that send me their cards to grade, all of my eBay, anything that gets shipped, it does not get shipped to my home address. It gets shipped to the UPS store, which is like a mile from my house. So when the item showed as shipped in eBay, I got an email not only from eBay, but I got an email from UPS saying, your package has been shipped. This is the tracking number. When I matched the tracking number on eBay to the tracking number in that UPS email, I noticed that the address that they had shipped it to, sure enough, was the same street, but the wrong address. So instead of, I'm not going to throw the real address out there on the air, but instead of 2424, it was shipped to 1535. Well, there's nothing at 1535. So I was able to go to ups.com and reroute the package to my local UPS store. Now, I didn't stop there. I went into the UPS store and I talked to all the employees at the UPS store and I said, this package is going to be showing up. I don't know who it's going to be addressed to. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be a plain white envelope. It could be like a freaking, I don't know, like Christmas tree size box. Like, I don't know what this scammer shipped any of this in, right? So when I got the delivered email on Friday through eBay, I immediately like literally left my house right away on Friday, went up to the UPS store. It took probably 20 minutes with me and these three guys to track down this package. It did not have my name on it. The only thing I could prove that it was the package is the tracking number. So Lefty, check this out. All right, so I'm at the UPS store. I had to reroute the fake address to this address, right, guys?
Yeah.
So these guys have helped me track down the actual tracking number here. Basically, what the seller did was, this isn't even my name, right, guys?
Right. Yeah. Correct.
So the seller put someone's fake name in here. It has my phone number. Luckily, these guys right here were able to help me track down the package. So let's open it up.
Perfect.
Let's see if this is in fact the item that I bought, which is supposed to be a Michael. Do you mind holding my phone and I'll open it?
No, we don't.
All right. Let's make sure we get all this in here. Let's make sure we get the package here. Okay, so hasn't been tampered with. This is supposed to be a Michael Jordan rookie card. This is it. Clearly not a Michael Jordan rookie card. It's an envelope with an Uber Eats coupon in it. Make sure we just documenting this for eBay here. An envelope with an Uber Eats coupon in it. That is crazy.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
Oh my god.
All right, well. So when you asked earlier on in the show, what does this story have to do with the Michael Jordan card or an Uber Eats coupon? And I tell you, I ordered a Michael Jordan 1986 Fleer rookie card in a PSA 1, and I got sent an Uber Eats coupon. Lefty, I don't even use Uber Eats. I use DoorDash, for crying out loud. The scammer sent me not only the wrong item, but the wrong company. He should have at least sent me a DoorDash coupon. I got the freaking Uber Eats coupon right behind me, by the way. Like it's going to get framed.
Yeah, you got to save it. We should. You got to talk to Andy, tell him this whole story, and get CGC to grade it for you.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. I bet Susan would hook us. Susan's cool. She's funny. I bet she made me do something. Derek Hagan, $2,000 off of Uber Eats. Andrew McDade, wow, are you grading that coupon? You guys are great. Ryan Painter, scammers are the worst. Yes. And Lefty laughing at poor Paul's expense. Well, Lefty had like a little, I kind of like, I don't know, Lefty, if you could tell that I was like a little shooken up when we were recording the premium pod last week. I kind of was. And I feel like I was professional enough to like finish it without being like crying as we were doing it. But like, but I think I told you when we were done recording, like, I think something's wrong with this. Right.
Yeah.
And so
immediately you snuffed it out. You were like, I think I'm getting scammed on this.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like, so for those of you, just to kind of wrap this up real quick, I'll tell you what's going on. So, the way that this works, because this has happened to me before, but not to this extent. Like this is like this. The reason why I can actually laugh at this is because I found the package. Like I would be freaking out if I was not able to find the package. And when I tell you that UPS, when he shipped it UPS, I was like, thank God. Because if he wouldn't have shipped it UPS, it would have been really hard to track this down. Like this is a scam that could potentially work for the scammer. Again, I don't know why eBay doesn't catch it with the authenticity guarantee program, but because they don't in these cases, you all need to look out for that. And it could potentially work because what if that package would have been delivered to the other, say, place of business and it's got some random person's name on it and it's like a flimsy envelope. It's going to sit there. I mean, think about it sitting at a business. No one in that business, if it's not addressed to anybody real, it's just going to sit. It's going to eventually be thrown away, or maybe someone's going to open it and be like, oh, there's an Uber Eats coupon in here. Let's save 10% off of an Uber Eats meal. You know, it's like, that's what would have happened. And what I think, so then what happened was I file a return. There's like two different options. One is like, item not as described. Okay. There's an item not as described that you can file. These are return requests. There's an item not as described. And then there's one that is worded slightly different, that is like wrong item sent or something. And so after doing research, I determined that the item not as described would be the better of the two options for this. You know, even though like that's an understatement, right? So I had that's why I took the video. I wanted the video to be me opening the thing and like proving that that's what was in it, you know? But I took photos of it, uploaded it to the request refund. The seller, and I basically said to the seller, like, look, I got you. Like, you thought you got me, but I got you. I got the package. You never thought I would get it. You sent me an Uber Eats coupon. Do the right thing. He proceeded to talk trash to me, call me a scammer, and then offered me a $1 refund, because you can offer like an official refund through eBay. He offered me a $1 refund. Now this is important because you need to decline that. You have to decline that, because if you don't decline that, it's going to stay. This is also part of his scam, by the way, because the more that he can prolong the eBay dispute, like it can stay open for like not only the initial, I think, 7 business days ish, but it can stay open for like another month, because or you can accidentally close it out and then it shows as resolved. And then it's it's actually very, very important that you follow the protocol in the eBay dispute, the resolution center, to keep it open until you ask eBay to step in. So in 2 days, I can ask eBay to step in. So I'm waiting 2 more days to ask eBay to step in. In the meantime, I have emailed everyone I know at eBay to let them know about this. And I posted an Instagram message before the show and tagged eBay on it, the eBay account. And there is someone DMing me on Instagram right now about it from eBay. So I'm hoping to get this resolved as soon as possible, right? Now, for all of you, I'm trying not to play the I know people at eBay card, because not all of you do. But I'm saying, like, I'm trying to go through the normal channels of, you know, filing the dispute and getting it resolved the right way, which I have full confidence that it will. But in the meantime, I'm also trying to expedite it any way I possibly can, which I would recommend that all of you do that as well. So it's just a matter. It's a matter of following the step-by-step process. Like, I think, Lefty, the reason I debated whether or not I was going to share it on today's episode, because last week I said that today's episode was going to be me going through my P&L sheet for the year. We're going to do that next week. The reason I decided to share this story on today's episode is because the reason we started this show, the reason I wanted to start this show, was to have a platform for people, for myself, to talk about my learning experience in the hobby, trying to make money flipping sports cards, to build a community like this with all of you. And then, you know, really over the last, you know, the more recent couple of years, to have a platform where you all could listen, learn, and earn with us. And I feel like the best way to do that is to be fully transparent about what I'm doing and my experience. And it's like, man, if I can't help people learn from something like this, then I'm not doing my job. So here I am, taking a gut punch, letting everybody know I got scammed. It sucks. I hope it doesn't happen to you. And I hope that all of us moving forward can do a better job of just looking out for ourselves. Don't just assume that eBay's got you covered. I think they do, and I think they will, and I think I'm going to get my money back. But again, it's like, look, I left myself open here because I didn't use a credit card. I used a debit card. I used spendable funds. So if I want to go file a dispute to get my money back, I lose $700 in spendable funds. So I need to get this resolved through eBay. You know what I mean? Lefty, I'm going to hand it over to you, man, just to kind of talk about this and get your take on it, and maybe read some of the live chats on this, because I'm going to try to DM this guy from eBay who's DMing me right now. And I'll still be dialed into the show here, but what do you think, man?
First off, your vigilance is unmatched. Your vigilance is unmatched. And I've not only in this scenario, I've known you long enough to know you to know that other things have happened in life where you're just like, that isn't right, and I'm gonna freaking fix that. And so this is a new thing that ups my admiration for your justice. You are vigilant, like Nashville's own Batman, if you will, except for eBay. I actually, a little brief off-topic thing. One of my groomsmen in my wedding was a U.S. postal. He was a postman for a while. After we graduated college, he went into post work, and because he was like, dude, the benefits are awesome. And I was like, well, that sounds lame, but all right. And so he went into the post work. After he did that, he now works in like a basically Secret Service level of the post office. And he does this kind of investigation work. He like works with people to like basically figure out the fraud things that are happening in mail. And I had no idea all this stuff was going on until A, my buddy was involved with it, and B, we started doing sports card stuff. You just hear time after time after time about how scams happen in the mail and how like things not showing up right or whatever is just super hard to find. And it's very like COVID was awful at this because things were like mega delayed, and then people were like, oh, I never received the package, and then it would come 6 months later. Like it was crazy. So this is just a lot of stuff. Yeah, his not Newman, by the way. Rusty and McGart.
Love the Seinfeld reference, Rusty. Yeah. Thank you for that.
It is hilarious to me that he didn't even send you a sports card. Like that's just so
like a picture of the card, right? I was expecting like a picture of his middle finger, like something.
Yeah, bro. Like,
at least
like,
I don't know
what he was sitting at his apartment probably, and he's just like, oh, this Uber Eats, and he just like puts it in there. It's so funny. The one thing I will say is during this whole thing, I went to eBay's selling of authentication guarantee customer service page. And I was just curious. I was like, what do they actually have on here? Went to the trading cards section. They have a watch section, sneaker section, streetwear, handbags, and jewelry. They have many things that they have an authentication guarantee program through. So I opened the trading cards version of it. And I noticed that at the bottom, there's a small note. It says, note, when U.S. buyers purchase from Canadian sellers, authentication is currently available for raw trading cards only. And so that is the loophole that this guy has gotten into, is you bought a graded PSA 1 Michael Jordan from Canada. So that is like, it says like the thing says cards must be sold on eBay by located in the US or Canada to a buyer located in US or Canada. And then it says, note, if it's graded, it doesn't have authentication. That sucks. First off. Second off, they should really be explicit about like this card doesn't go through seller authentication. Like we noticed when they put this on eBay, they were pretty good about making every post that it would go through, like every card that you would see, whether it was on mobile or on the desktop, you would have a clear thing that said card will go through buyer authentication program. I think another miss here is that they don't have a thing that says warning, card not going through card authentication program. Like even like you know how like when you buy something on Amazon or something, it says add to cart and then it says, do you want to check out? Like I think that to save eBay a lot of headache, they should say, oh, before you check out, you are aware that this is not going through our authentication, right?
Yes.
I think that should probably be the case here. Now, let me go to a different thing that Terry and Rusty and some other guys have said. eBay is very lenient on the feedback channels specifically, because if they are just to act on any negative review, people can put whatever the frick they want in a negative review. It doesn't have to be verified. So from eBay's perspective, they're not just going to go after the first person that says this guy's a scammer, because somebody could just be mad that they don't like the card they're getting, and they could just say that. So it's like, from eBay's perspective, they have to do some due diligence to like, it has to have either a prolonged period of time or multiple times that this has happened. And if I'm honest, like, just deleting their account doesn't exactly solve the problem, because it's so easy for the guy to just create another email and create a different account. So it's unfortunate that this is happening, because most of the time justice and good is reactive to where evil or whatever has pushed into different areas. I don't want to necessarily get into that, but usually criminals are ahead of the law. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
And this just is a sucky situation. And I'm super glad that you got it involved into UPS. That's happened to me as well. That has happened to me where I picked it up at UPS.
If he would have sent it through really
USPS.
Any other carrier.
USPS.
USPS or
FedEx, you would have been able to pick it up at FedEx as well.
FedEx, I probably would have had better odds tracking it down for sure, because they're like a brick and mortar business. Then you can talk to people and stuff. But yeah, like USPS, or like, I don't know, there's just other more common foreign shippers that are escaping my mind at the moment. But anyway, the fact that it was like literally a UPS store that I have my box with also made it where the employees at the store know, those guys in the video, like, they know me because I'm in there all the time. So they were, I know, it was funny. So they were like,
the orange glasses guy was so Nashville. That's incredible. Like, he's just like, so funny.
Yep.
That whole video was just prime content, my man.
Good content, right? I mean, I think that's the silver lining here is that, look, this show is about documenting our journey flipping sports cards. And that was pretty good content. It was real documentation of the journey. And yeah, you made a lot of good points there, Lefty. A lot of good points. I love your solution to, there needs to be something that says, attention, this is not covered, beware, this is not covered under the eBay authenticity guarantee. Ensure that you're buying from a reputable seller, blah, blah, blah. So here's the update live on the air here. So this guy, Graham from eBay, has been IG DMing me, asked for the order number, authenticate that it's my eBay account, everything like that. And then he says, thank you for the order details. I see that you've already got a return request started. I'm not sure why they offered a partial refund in this situation, but you definitely took the right action with declining it, which is what I thought. Because, I would think, look, if I hadn't have gone through that situation before with an Ellie De La Cruz card that the guy never shipped, by the way, a couple years ago, and I ended up getting the refund back, but it was harder because I closed it out. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I thought at that time that it would be faster if I closed it out so that I could like reopen it or something. Well, that was my mistake back then too. So had I not learned from that experience, I might have accepted the $1 refund and been like, hey, I'm still going to pursue this. But the way that eBay's system works is you got to wait to give the seller the opportunity to do something. And then after the seller doesn't step in after a certain amount of days, then there's a button that shows up that says ask eBay to help. You want to, at all costs, wait for that ask eBay to help button to show up, because that's when eBay, you can actually get a real person to step in and basically get you your money back. So this guy, Graham, is like, maybe I'll talk to him today. Maybe I won't. Maybe he'll make me wait another 2 days. It's just, I'm going to get my money back, but I'm still pissed about this. And it's funny that you use the word justice, because it
justice.
My wife tells me she does, long story short, she, through her career, became familiar with this game called values poker. It's not really poker, but it's like, if you Google it, you'll see it's like Google values poker. You'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, like, it's basically like, what are the top 3 things that you value in the world the most? And so she tells me that Justice is one of my top 3. So it's funny that so yeah, I tracked that fucker down, Lefty. I'm like, I'm not letting anyone beat me. Like, this guy's not going to beat me. I'm fortunate that I didn't need the $2,000 at the moment. I'm very fortunate for that, because if I were in a situation where I needed it at the moment, I mean, it would have been a little dire, but I think
if you were in that scenario, you shouldn't have spent $2,000 of your bankroll.
That's right. I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that, because that's actually another point that I wanted to make on this episode. Because yes, why did this happen? This happened because I had $2,000 earmarked for this card. And so that's why I'm not beating. I guess I'm going through this mental process of like not beating myself up about it. And that was part of the process.
I mean,
what you just said. Yeah.
I mean, you got taken advantage of. It's not, I mean, in any other scenario, if somebody gets taken advantage of, we tell them, this isn't your fault. You know, you're a victim, you know, like look at any other scenario in life where we tell people that get taken advantage of, like, this isn't your fault. This is just one that's probably, hopefully won't last with you traumatically for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So not that I'm making light of that. So anyway, I'll just move on.
No, I think it's, I know that when I get my money and my spendable funds back, it's going to be a win, and it's going to be something that I'll never forget. And I think the other lesson too, look, not to get into this is not like a life lessons podcast, but I think the other reflection that I had was on why did this happen? I was doing too many things at one time, dude. I really was. I was thinking about 45 different things. And because buying sports cards has become like muscle memory to me, I get an alert on my phone and it's like, hey, we all know the eBay alerts I'm talking about. 9 minutes left to bid on this item. You've been outbid, put your bid in, and I'm like, oh, well, I know what I'm willing to spend. I'm going to put that bid in. And that's all I did. I was like getting a snack or filling up my water bottle. Like I said, whatever I was doing. And I was also had 45 other things on my brain. And so it's like lesson learned on that too. I mean, bid on, I'm not telling all of you what to do. I'm telling myself what to do moving forward. Bid on items when that is the only thing that you're doing at that moment.
Yeah,
that's just what I'm going to do.
That's good.
Thanks, man. All right. Well, if you want to spend $300 to make 10K profit, join nooffseason.com now. Get our tried and true strategies and tools to help you mitigate risks and maximize wins and profits. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now. We're here to help you. We're here to help you through a lot of different situations. You get unlimited advice on our premium podcast. Also, there's a tool, card analyzer and predictor tool. Basically, it tells you what we think your card will grade and what it will be worth in the future. Lefty, we're rolling out a huge improvement to that product, that feature, later this week. I'm excited about it. It's coming. I've been testing it. Can I tell you a little bit about it real quick?
Yeah, dude.
Well, I think you said to me in New York, you were like, can you that centering tool that everyone's talking about on the Discord? Can you just put that into gooffseason.com?
I was really asking about what are you capable of, Paul Hickey? Which I've asked you a couple of times in our relationship, what actually can you do? And this was one of those things.
There's going to be more too, but for now we're adding it. Hopefully it should be later this week at nooffseason.com. Come check it out. When you use our card analyzer and predictor tool, the first thing you do is you chart the price of the card that you're looking for. It's real sales data. You chart it. Then you can upload photos of the card that you have. So you've been able to do that, and you've been able to get analysis in your user dashboard on it. But now there's going to be a step where instead of having to wait for our analysis, you're going to be able to use the centering tool to see the centering grades immediately. And then you can still submit it for further analysis. And then if it's an already graded card or something you just need a trend analysis on, like if it's not something that you really need to use the centering tool for, you can just skip directly to submitting it for the trend analysis. So I think it's going to be a huge improvement. It's going to save all of us a lot of time and a lot of waiting
to see some of that stuff. Like, so those cards are legit coming to your email inbox and you're saying, okay, let's have a look. This is your process. I literally watched you do it in New York, and you're just like pulling these up, and these people are asking questions about certain cards. You're like, okay. But this also allows them to see the centering, but it also quickly allows you to say, okay, centering is good. Centering is good. What else does this card need to be ran through? Does it need to be run through, potentially look for pock marks or scratches or off color or anything like that, out of the corners, da-da-da. But at the same time, in fact, there's probably a way that you could even manage the corners and something.
What are we capable of?
Yeah, what are we capable? But at the same time, you're able to then go into the actual thing that people show up for our content for is we have a wealth of doing this, and you are at a full-time level for years, so it's just picking your brain, and it allows you to work faster, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of waiting on me out of it too, because right now people are waiting on me. I'm generally pretty fast, but I mean, look, if it's the weekend and I'm out doing something, now people are going to be able to.
If he's out fighting male crime.
I'm the Batman of male crime. What's weird is
male as in MAIL, not MALE. This is not male crime.
Let's definitely clarify. What's
unisex
really weird
male
too,
crime.
this is a weird thing for me to say on the air, but throughout this whole process, I actually thought of a scam that I could run. But
don't say it because
it would definitely be mail fraud.
Yeah.
And I can go to jail for it. And I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Newman/Gunner is coming after you.
Yeah. If anyone wants to learn how to commit mail fraud, email me at paul@nooffseason.com.
And it'll cost you $300 membership.
It'll probably go to jail for a while.
You can ask the premium pod.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true. Never mind. Don't email me. Join nooffseason.com and ask on the premium pod, how do I commit mail fraud? Then I'll answer it. Good point.
82 cents a day or whatever it is.
82 cents a day if you go annual. $2. There's a $2 a day option, everybody. All right. So look, I want to keep promoting nooffseason.com through this episode. So, you can bet your butt that I'm going to. But Lefty, let's get into some actual information on how these people can make money flipping sports cards through our sports card rankings. I've picked 4 cards that I like from our sports card rankings. So I'm going to give them away for free on the Sports Card Strategy Show. You've picked 4 cards. I love it. You go first, Lefty. What cards in our sports card rankings at nooffseason.com do you want to give the listener to the Sports Card Strategy Show to make money on right now?
Yeah. So in this segment, what we do is we basically look at the report and we say, what sticks out, because sometimes there's cards that stay on there or move up and down for a while. And you're like, okay, well, and so when we look at this, we basically are just saying what sticks out to us right now. And then it's our job to come on here and say, well, why does it stick out to us? So my first card that I wanted to look at is the 3rd ranked card right now. One, I just want to preface with, this is a tough card to find raw because it is old and it's a banger. So the 2017 Topps 287 base Aaron Judge card, if you can find it for the raw price, which is $30, essentially $29.99, you can make 103% return on that card right now in terms of a buy in a raw to grade. One, that stands out to me for a number of reasons, and here's why. Aaron Judge is the best baseball player on the planet right now, and Shohei Ohtani is living. Let's just put those things. It doesn't matter who is doing what. Aaron Judge is having a historic season. He is quickly becoming, and this is literally an article I read this morning, is he becoming the best Yankee of all time? And that is saying a hell of a lot. How many people are in Memorial Garden
Series yet, and he's being.
I know, and that's their main argument.
Yeah,
their main argument is if his trajectory holds, and if he's healthy, and if he doesn't take the Mike Trout like back problem thing, and if he wins a World Series, then what do you have that he doesn't? He'll have like a frick ton of awards by the time he's done. The Cal Raleigh is having the best baseball season of any catcher ever, and he's still not in the MVP conversation because of the thing that Aaron Judge is doing this year. He is literally even better than Babe Ruth was at his peak, and Babe Ruth was hitting against plumbers, so it's like he's not throwing against Dominican dudes throwing 106, like Aaron Judge is doing it at a high level. And so this card is a 103% return right now, but I know that this card will also have a chance to even get better in an opportunity for return, because barring anything crazy, he's going to win the MVP this year, and he's going to have that buyback, the Topps Chrome buyback thing happening. And whenever Aaron Judge's cards are transacted at a high rate, and those will get transacted at a high rate, this card also sees a significant bump, because it's one of the ones that's like one of like the CJ Stroud example of like 30,000 CJ Stroud cards, but there's 5 that are investable. There's a million Aaron Judge cards, and there's probably more that are more than 5 that are investable, but this is in the top. This is in the top few. So most of the time, you see a guy getting highly transacted, his big cards, his top 5, his big invested are going to go up. So I think the 103% return here, we know that our tool is conservative. We've said that many times. But I think this is one of the most conservative. Now, the linchpin here with this whole argument is, can you find a raw gradable version of this card? And I come back to that a lot when we have these kind of conversations, because when I look through our listings, I say, okay, where is a card that I can find very consistently? And that's how I run through this. So I just wanted to throw that Aaron Judge one out there first, because
let me jump in, because I'm really glad that you picked this card, because there are a lot of people that, well, I mean, first of all, I think everybody, I'm not trying to come across like we get a lot of pushback on our rankings. We don't, but we do get feedback from premium members occasionally on the rankings being unrealistic, maybe. And I could see where like some people would assume that about this card. For a couple reasons, or maybe about any card, because like you could look at our rankings and you could be like, well, this card, the upside in the PSA 10 is higher now because the PSA 10's up. So by the time I get my gradable version back from PSA, will the PSA 10 have come back down to earth? Like, what would the PSA 10 be back at, right? So while it shows 103 now, and so I'm just adding another like reason why you could poke holes in this play. But let me tell you, and I think hopefully I'll have some time in the next year or so to actually go back and pull some real data on this. But I can just tell you anecdotally, like this card has gemmed a lot. Like, because the beautiful thing about what I get to do at nooffseason.com is not only do I get to put out these rankings, but since we provide grading services for members, our members send me their cards. So then I get the grades back. This Aaron Judge 2017 Topps 287 base card has been on our rankings for a long time. And people have made a lot of money on it because it's gemmed a lot. Another one that's old that's gemmed a lot is Travis Kelce's 2015 Topps paper card. That's another one. Now, right now, you can only make 30% on that. But that's only 30%. That's good. 103%, Lefty. That's amazing. Now, I would say by the time somebody gets this back from PSA, it might not be at 103%, but you can find gradable copies and you're going to make 50% on this card minimum if you get this graded right now, if you find a gradable copy. Right now, the other thing too, and I'll let you get back to it in a second because you've got a good list here, is in fact, we picked, I think we each picked the same card, which is cool. We can talk about that. But the other thing is this play is meant to be made in bulk, right? Like if you, because it's a $30 card right now. the copies that people have sent me in the past, they only had to buy for about half that. That's the other thing I should say. The PSA 10 price is up, but so is the raw price. So the investment that people made back then when they got gems was less. Well, still only a $30 card. That's still pretty affordable. So if you get a gradable copy of this for $30, you can afford 3, 4, 5 of these. That increases the chances that you're going to get a gem, and it increases the chances that, to your point, the formula being conservative, that you're going to get to that 103%. All right, back over to you. I just wanted to applaud you for that call there.
Yeah. And this is one of the ones that I love. The other ones, I'll just go ahead and go quickly. I was going to save this for the third one, but I'll go to the one that we have the same, because I didn't notice we had the one that's the same. We both have Caitlin Clark 2024 Prizm base, and it's a very similar reason why I have this card on here of the Aaron Judge. The reason I talked about the Aaron Judge is yeah, he's great, but also there is reason to believe that this card could be higher when this card does come out. So it's okay, it's conservative, and I know that our tool is conservative. So I also like to think of, because it's conservative, where is there potentially more meat on the bone here? Where could I make what I used to do before we had a tool with the old school style of where are we thinking that this is going to play in 6 months, And I think Caitlin Clark has done nothing but get injured this year. She's just hamstrings, groins, all this stuff, and we can speculate to all this kind of thing, but she's still a dog and she's still selling. And currently it's at a 53% return rate. A base Prizm, extremely accessible card, extremely accessible, very easy to look at to see if it's gradable or not. And this card is 53% return or investment and return. I'm in on that. So that one doesn't even need a long dialogue. That one doesn't even need a monologue here. This just Caitlin Clark's cards, if they are still selling right now and she hasn't really put it all together, and this Fever team is still afloat because they have a great team around her, she's going to be in the playoffs. They won the cup, all this kind of stuff. This is a 53% return right now, and I think it could be more than that in the future. So that's why I pointed this one out.
The reason I added that, in addition to everything you said, is I finally figured out the centering on that card. I don't know why it took me. Well, I think it's probably again, I'm kind of beating myself up a little bit. I think it's probably pretty normal. When a new release comes out, you got to figure out how it's going to gem and that kind of thing. It just took me a minute to kind of figure out, a minute being a few grading submissions, what the centering is on this card. And I think because I figured out the centering and you can still make 53%, and she's one of my 5 that I'm buying, I think this is probably going to be a play that I go hard into.
Yeah, good. I would say you want to share with the class, but we'll save that for your little section. The other one, I read an article this morning about guys that real experts and NFL coverage believe has a dark horse to really up their stock and in this year compared to last. And Brock Purdy was all over this article. He was all over it. People are he was just dog water last year. There were so many contractual issues, player personnel wasn't right, all this kind of stuff. There just was so many problems in San Fran, and Brock Purdy's value dropped significantly. I actually don't know that to be the case, but people talked about him very differently.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the sexy QBs last year. Exactly.
Yeah, he wasn't the one everybody was going after, which to me thinks, okay, is there an opportunity here? Well, then I have that in my brain. I'm reading articles all the time about sports stuff because that's what we do. And then I look at the chart later on in the day and I say, ooh, interesting. Brock Purdy is pretty high on this list of cards that make good return. Brock Purdy 2022 Prizm 353 silver. Buy-in price $125 or $123.60 to be exact. And you have a 39% or a 39% return rate here. But I think what I like even more is the PSA 9 is $20 better. The PSA 9 is $20 better than the raw buy-in price right now, or the projected price that you want to get in on it, which covers a silver membership coverage of the grading fee. So this is not a close, this is a true break-even PSA 9, which makes me more encouraged because a 2022 Prizm is, again, not very hard to figure out if it's centered well. Not always can you tell about surfacing or anything like that, but if you can eliminate 2 of the 4 grading elements, you're putting yourself in a good success rate here. And you're just trying to play the odds here. But even if you play the odds, you're going to get some 9s every now and then, and a true break even on a PSA 9, I'm ready for that. So from Brock Purdy to also be a quarterback that we could turn pretty well, the problem here is from a raw to grade strategy, you're not going to get him back till midseason. That's the problem. The good thing is, though, that this could be a potential if you wanted to use this in your riskier side of your portfolio. I would rather have other quarterbacks. I'll say that. I would rather have other quarterbacks. But if I'm going to throw a couple of silvers towards Brock Purdy, I'd be okay with that. I'd be comfortable there. So I'm glad that that's third. Do you want me to move to the fourth, or you want to chime in on that one?
I think Brock Purdy, I think any raw to grade is pretty safe if you can get a gradable version of the card. Because like if you get a 7 on the card, then you can always crack it out and sell it raw pretty much for about what you bought it for. It's just, that's the reality of it. And that would be the play. And that's why I think what we do works is like, the more you do it and the more you stay tried and true to it, yeah, you're not going to get a 10 every time, and you're not necessarily going to get that $432 upside. The other thing is, if Brock Purdy, like to your point, if he doesn't light the world on fire and maybe the value of that PSA 10 goes down a little bit and you get a PSA 10, you're still up enough to walk out of there with a win. So all of these plays, I would say, even the Aaron Judge at 103%, and we've always tried to say this over and over again to everybody, you're not necessarily going to make that, but this is how we rank the cards that it's a prioritization tool. If you want a cheat sheet and a prioritization tool of what cards you should be grading, the raw to grade rankings at nooffseason.com are the only place on the planet where you can get that. So there's always going to be ways to poke holes in everybody's strategy, but I think the Brock Purdy Prizm Silver 2022 is a great call, because even if Brock Purdy doesn't do well, if you've picked the gradable card, you're still going to make money on it. So,
yeah, I think, so Brock Purdy third on this list, but it did qualify as quote unquote stuck out to me in the listings. And then the fourth one is a fun one, because it's one that really surprised me on the list because of how long ago we've talked about this card. An $8.94 buy-in as well sounds really great. And it sounds like you can make it at least 25 times with very little, like when you're talking about a bulk play here, this one sounds in the realm of possibilities for people. Roki Sasaki 2021 Topps Chrome MPB 194 base. We talked about this card forever ago, and Roki honestly hasn't been what we thought. So for him to now have a 42% return on investment, and for the PSA 10s of these to sell for $140, that's what I'm talking about, Paul. This is also a 42% return with a 0 in the PSA 9 column, which means I can almost guarantee you that a PSA 9 is going to sell for more than $8.94. So it's like, and I'm not sure if this one is a true break even, but I know that if you do a good job of looking for gemmable cards, you're going to get a PSA 10 on this pretty regularly, because the base versions of these cards, if I remember correctly, their gem rate was good. So for the fact that this is back on the list at a 42% return rate, I love it.
You know what's interesting about this card too, Lefty, and really interesting about all of these cards that we're talking about on the rankings, is that all of this data is the average sale price in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
So this means that the cards that you see on our sports card rankings at nooffseason.com and the cards that we talk about on the Sports Card Strategy Show, these are highly transacted cards. So someone is finding Roki Sazaki's 2021 Topps Chrome NPB 194 base for $8.94 consistently throughout a 30-day period of time. Otherwise, it drops off the rankings completely. So I like that because I haven't been able to find it for that, but somebody is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you're out there and you're thinking what I just said, I haven't been able to find that, fair enough, but we wouldn't be talking about it if nobody could find it. And the other thing that's interesting about this Roki Sasaki that Lefty pointed out is it hasn't sold in a PSA 9 in the last 30 days. So what that means is it's actually higher than a 42% ROI. We leave it on the rankings because it has sold raw and it has sold in a PSA 10, which is really what matters. But the way that the mathematical formula ranks the ROI is it takes into account the average based on the gem rate of the PSA 9 and the PSA 10. Well, because PSA 9 is tracking at a 0, that's bringing down the overall ROI. So Lefty mentioned earlier that our formula-based rankings are conservative. Well, you guys might be like, well, what does that mean? Well, that's a perfect example of it being conservative. It hasn't sold in a PSA 9. If it had sold in a PSA 9 for, say, $20, well, then it would be more than 42%. It's tracking at a 0, which is actually bringing down the overall ROI to 42% from wherever the actual last sale of a PSA 9 actually was, which is probably why Lefty said, not sure if it's a break even. Probably is, because chances are the last sale of a PSA 9 was $30, which would make it a break even. Although, we haven't looked that up. But anyway, yeah, great stuff there. So there's, we talked about the Caitlin Clark 2024 Prizm base. I guess I will do that, show the class real quick that you mentioned.
Requested.
So let's see if this works. Live demo. Wasn't prepared to do this. Started to prepare while Lefty was talking. But card analyzer and predictor tool at nooffseason.com. You put in the name of the card, click search, you get the most recent sales. If you want to go to the highest sale price, you can toggle there as well. I'm just going to chart a couple of the base Prizms. Average price says $24.96 for the cards that I have charted. The rankings say $20.26, so just $4 differential there. But then you upload the front and back of the card. This is another improvement that's about to launch too, because before it was not as straightforward as how to upload multiple photos at the same time. And then you can go grading analysis or trend analysis. So the trend analysis would be like, I don't need a grading analysis, just I want an analysis of like what this card's going to sell for in the future. So you'd get that. Grading analysis is you'd get both basically, but then you go grading analysis and then it's center your front. So Lefty was kind of asking me to show the class, how am I doing centering with this card? And you're getting a demo of the tool. So I would go, I'm looking at, from left to right, I'm looking at the border being the start of the black, I'll call it the black line, the start of the black line here on the left. And then the inside of the black line, the start of the black line on the right. So the start of the black line in either, and I guess in theory, you could, it probably would center the same way if you did the inside of the black line. If you think about it, it would center the same way. So then I'm going the top of the black line at the top. And obviously the edge of the card. So you're dragging. This works way better it does work on mobile, I will say, but it's way harder to actually drag it with your finger on the phone than it is to just use the desktop. So now all of a sudden, like right away, you're getting 59 centering left, 41 right, 56 top, 44 bottom. So that's how I look at this card. Then you would do the back. And on the back, I'm doing right at the, it's basically like the top of the word number 2022. It's also the top of the image here. And then on the bottom, I'm going to the bottom of the text, which is also the bottom of like the WNBA logo, the edge of the card. And then I'm going to the edge of the WNBA logo and the edge of the card. I'm going to the edge of the text where the tab starts on the text. And then you're going to see 62, 38, top, bottom, 34, 66. And you want to view grades. So then it's going to say your grades are ready. This projects to be a PSA, SGC, BGS, and CGC 9 on the front. On the back, PSA 9, SGC 10, BGS 9, CGC 10. Submit my card for further analysis if you want. If you want to just walk away and go, hey, I just needed to know the centering grades, fine. If you want further analysis on your card, submit for further analysis. Get it on your dashboard. We say within 1 to 5 business days. I'm usually a lot faster than that. But anyway.
You're faster than 1 business day?
Yeah, because I'm usually just sitting at my computer all day, every day, except for when I'm
fighting male crime.
Yeah, fighting crime. I mean, when I'm not at the UPS store fighting male crime, I'm sitting in front of my computer. Which you all know is not true because I spoke about my family and all that stuff. But anyway, kind of true.
Max is like, Dad, can you come play with me? You're like, no, gotta evaluate some cards.
Yep.
Gotta fight crime.
He wants to throw the football as hard as he can at my face is what he wants to do these days. Or play golf. One is definitely more fun than the other. Anthony Edwards 2020 Prizm Silver 258 is a card that I really, really like. $146 buy-in point, 755 upside in a PSA 10. PSA 9 true money back, 181. Buy multiple copies of this card. Get a 43% ROI minimum on that. Jordan Love 2020 Prizm Silver is also one I like. $86 buy-in, 710 upside in a PSA 10. 102 in a PSA 9. Pretty good. 43% ROI. Jordan Love. I mean, Gauntlet, real quick. I picked that over your Brock Purdy. There you go.
Jordan Love?
Yeah, I picked that over your Brock Purdy. What do you guys all think? Drop a comment at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. The Jordan Love Prizm Silver raw to grade for a 43% ROI, or the Brock Purdy raw to grade for the 39% ROI. Pretty close on the ROI. Maybe you're just picking which quarterback you like better at that point.
Yeah, for me, it's Jordan Love, probably.
Yeah,
but
same thing. But I do like both cards raw to grade. Okay, and then we just added one to the formula. So, Lefty, I talked last week about now when you click on the card in the formula rankings, you get taken to a page that has the auctions of that actual card from eBay at nooffseason.com. So we just added one. And again, this is all realistic. All of these are very, very realistic. We have had one of our premium members, Toby, shout out Toby. Toby's my guy. He's graded with us from the start of the grading. He's probably graded more cards through nooffseason.com than anyone. Toby has been sending in a lot of Amen Thompson 2023 Prizm Silvers lately, and he's been getting good grades on them. So that prompted me to go, I should add this to the rankings and see where it shakes out. So thank you, Toby. So Amen Thompson 2023 Prizm Silver 150 is a $48 card. Only sells for $50 in a PSA 9. So that's the risk, but it sells for $252 in a PSA 10. Shakes out to a 39% ROI. So we just added that one to the formula. Wanted to let you guys all know that. If you like the content on this show and want more, go premium at nooffseason.com now to get unlimited advice answered on our premium podcast at the end of the week. Typically, I've been posting that on Thursday because Lefty and I recorded on Thursday, so there's no reason to wait till Friday to post it. Go premium at nooffseason.com. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20%. Lefty, let's do some quick live chat love / discussion about anything you want to talk about before we go on to why Jaden Daniels 2024 Prizm Silver PSA 10 could tank over the next 6 months. Who have we not shouted out? You start a Derek Hagan comment.
Yeah.
Here. Let's do that one real quick.
Yeah, he said, I just bought a 1981 Joe Montana card from Canada that is being delivered. I noticed that it's going through the eBay. It is not going through the eBay authentication as well. My main question was, it's got to be graded then, because if it's not and it's over the threshold of the price benefit, then that would be another occasion where it's not going through because of the quote unquote note that we saw on eBay.
You know what's weird about your note too is that I've had one other card not go through the eBay authenticity guarantee program, and it was at the beginning of 2024. So it would have been like Q1 of 2024. Because I remember it was when there was like this scandal, which I think honestly was like totally blown out of proportion, about like the fake cards coming over from Japan out of 2023 Prizm basketball. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Well, I bought one from our friendly neighborhood Merzerond.
Oh, yeah. Those are the guys. First off,
Merzerond.
We need to get Merzerond on the show.
Yeah, Merzerond, if you're listening, we would actually have you on the show. Merzerond, but Merzerond may not speak great English, so I'm not sure how that would go down, but we could give it a try. Merzerond is a Japanese
cards to the US. Maybe they do.
Maybe they do speak great English. Merzerond, the only reason I say that is because Merzerond is in Japan. Maybe they do speak great English. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We could still have you on the show. And I got a PSA 10 on the Victor Wembanyama silver Prizm that I bought from Merzerond, but it didn't go. It was like I think I paid $500 for it, and it definitely was over $250, and it didn't go through the authenticity guarantee. It was raw. So I don't know. But that was a long time. It was like over a year ago. So it could be that now.
Do you have any sort of like knowledge? And I feel like I know this, but I can't recall it right now. Do you know why some of the cards in the quote unquote threshold don't give you the option to go to PSA and some do?
We could ask Mike Nett. Mike Nett is probably going to be, I'm going to email this episode to Mike Nett. So Mike, we love you. Be prepared to answer that question when we talk at the National. Because I know what Lefty's asking. It's like sometimes the authenticity guarantee raw cards with two or more images don't give you the option at checkout, and sometimes they do. It's weird.
Yeah, I bought 2 JJ McCarthy downtowns last week on accident. But I did not buy them on accident, but I did not mean to buy 2 of them. Let's just put it that way. That happens to me way more often than I would want it to happen. Like I'm bidding on a couple of them and then I end up winning 2 of them. It ends up being okay most of the time, but my bankroll gets wild after that. But anyway, so one of them I was able to ship straight to PSA. Both of them had to go through the authenticity guarantee, but one of them I did not have the option to grade it. And now it's going to come to me and then I have to send it back to PSA, which is the reason why they did that whole feature. So just interesting.
Look, eBay, we know, and I'm not like calling you out. You're just the man that's going to help us answer the question. We know like you guys are doing some complicated stuff over there, right? I'm a software developer myself in my spare times. I get it. It's hard. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice to clean these things up. Fonduni Abby, Tommy Cardeal says, grateful for this podcast. First time being on the live. James Brown in the house. He's a loyal premium member at nooffseason.com. Stargo Inc. Carmel Porter. We love Carmel. She's one of our favorite premium members. Jeremy Kimbrell. And awesome plays. That's our guy, Carey. Awesome plays. We met Carey. I met Carey at Fanatics Fest. Good dude. Richard Villarreal in the house. Derek Hagan still pumped to receive his Uber Eats coupon. Dude, the Uber Eats coupon. I was like, when I opened it up and I was like, there's an Uber Eats coupon in this motherfucker. I'm like, okay, Lefty's going to love this. And so is the nooffseason.com fam. So I had to
so funny.
Show the actual video of the dudes at the UPS store. All right. I want to talk about why I think Jaden Daniels 2024 Prizm Silver PSA 10 will tank in value over the next 6 months. It'll be interesting to see if anyone has a counterpoint to this, because I actually have a counterpoint to my own argument, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. So Jaden Daniels right now, his 2024 Prizm Silver PSA 10, the last sale is $12.80. And today is the 21st of July. And the last sale was like basically in the last week. So when you look at CJ Stroud's 2023 Prizm Silver PSA 10, we're talking 1 year prior because it's 2023, sold in 2024. And when you look at what it was selling for at this time last year, it was $1,000 card. So you've got, it was, I mean, if you want to be super accurate, which we should be, it was between $950 and $1,000. It was selling like 2 to 5 times a day at that rate this week last year. I bought one at Fanatics Fest for like $900 and I was pumped because I got it for under comps. And again, the theme of today's show is learn from Paul's mistakes, because what immediately happened to that card after week 1 is it went down to like a $600 card. I mean, it sold for $725 on September 13th. It sold for $685 on September 24th. It sold for $610 on October 5th. It sold for $590 on October 10th. It sold for $434 on November 3rd. It has not really gone back up. It sold for $425 a week ago. So now you could say one counterpoint is CJ Stroud didn't play well his second year. Well, it's kind of what I'm saying about Jaden Daniels. Like, they had similar rookie years. They were the second overall pick. We're talking about the same card. And I fear, my friends, that we're going to see a similar drop-off to Jaden Daniels as we did to CJ Stroud. I think we're pretty much talking apples to apples here. I think the two counterpoints could be, one would be how the gem rate projects the pop count to be. So, for example, CJ Stroud's gem rate on this card is over 35%. Jaden Daniels' gem rate right now is 13%. So as more and more get graded, and so gemrate.com, just kind of eyeballing the data, it's almost like every week, at least 100 more CJ Stroud cards at this time last year and Jaden Daniels cards right now, at least 100 more per week total graded hit the market, which means based on the gem rate, you've got 13-ish to 20-ish more Jaden Daniels cards in PSA 10 hitting the market. Whereas last year you had 30-ish to 40-ish more CJ Stroud cards each week hitting the market. But now the CJ Stroud pop count has leveled off. It's 2169. So by this math, and maybe I need to build an app at nooffseason.com that does this for us. So that would be pretty sick. But just by this math, like let's say 10 per week. So now 10 weeks from now, there should be around 150 more Jaden Daniels Prizm Silvers. So 10 weeks from now, I don't even know when that is. That's probably sometime in early September, mid-September, end of September, which is when that dip started to happen. So regardless of how Jaden Daniels plays, there should be a dip significantly under $1,000 on this card. Now, on top of that, if he doesn't exceed the expectations that are astronomical for himself right now, it's going to dip even more. So that's my argument, Lefty. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like the sound of it because because I have a Topps redemption that is Jaden Daniels auto that I have not been able to get. Dadgummit.
Well, that's a different card, though. I would argue because you have that card
going down. I don't like that, but I agree with the assessment. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been talking about this card specifically. I think it might have been as early as March that we made the comparison between CJ Stroud and him. Because the hype was out of this world, unreal. Like, it's hard to kind of put ourselves in that scenario where CJ Stroud was Jaden Daniels. Like, we're like, oh, well, CJ Stroud's so much different now. Like, it's a year removed, but it's a year of media desensitization. Whatever.
Wait, what? Desensitization?
We've desensitized. We've been desensitized for a year of like CJ Stroud not being Jaden Daniels, right?
Yes.
But a year before that, he was the dude. He was
the Jaden Daniels.
He was coming out like people were like, I bought 20 450-yard performance Tops Now cards.
I remember that.
And didn't lose money on that play, which sounds like an absolute train wreck now that I'm saying it.
I thought you were going to lose money on that play.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was wrong.
I essentially broke even, but still.
That's okay.
Still. But
better than spending $2,000 on an Uber Eats coupon.
True. I may have made the call of saying we should potentially throw a risky investment in Dennis Schroeder, but I did not pay $2,000 for an Uber Eats coupon. You're always going to have me on that one. True. Man, I didn't realize the absolute weight I was about to have. Yeah. So I believe that your statement is solidified in my head. Like, that's gonna happen. Like, it's technically, this is speculatory, but at the same time, that's just so solid of a assessment, because the guys are pretty much the same. The one thing I could say that could be different, like you talked about pop count, all that kind of stuff. I do feel like, if I remember correctly, coming into the season, CJ Stroud didn't do well. Like, I remember he was kind of like faltering a little bit. He wasn't as flashy. It was like his team was a little bit out of whack. Like, that might have been the year that they had. Year? Yeah, like his second year was like, it just wasn't as fast. Yeah, like last year, he kind of pooped the bed. But like last year, CJ Stroud, which was his second year, totally pooped the bed individually, but the Texans still won games. So you're right. Yeah. So I guess if Jaden Daniels comes in and just dominates still, maybe that's not the case. And my theory, I think, is totally then I'm totally wrong. Yeah, but that's best case scenario. Right. Like, we are not in the business of relying on best case scenario. We do in every other area. We say don't project into best case scenario, because that's what we used to do. That's how we got ourselves in trouble in the beginning. It's because we would project best case scenario, and that hits maybe 20% of the time, maybe less. Yeah, we would tell ourselves a narrative about Caden Clark or Giovanni Reyna or any of these guys. Ansu Fati. Like, we would get on and we'd be like, MW to come out of the woodwork? Conine. Yeah, where's MW to troll you about Javi Simons? This, and that's fun. We had fun doing that, but then we stopped having fun when we were losing money, and we were like, there's got to be a better way. It's got to be to look at what is definitely going to happen with all of these guys and not what could happen with these guys. So you nailed it. And it's good. So it's good to think that way. So look, if you're out there and you're like, well, Paul, you suck because Jaden Daniels is the best. Fine. But I would still argue that you should wait to see what happens with his prices before you buy into a PSA 10. Because they will, regardless of here's my flag plant. Regardless of what happens, they will go down. It's a 1200 average sale in the last 30 days is 1280. The last sale is 1362. So it's actually gone up based on its last sale from the previous sale. It will not be anywhere close to 1362. The closest that it will be to 1362 will be $899 at the end of September. That's the closest that it will be.
That's my flag plant, being very specific with that. So we've got some guys in the live chat that totally get it, that agree with me on this. And Lefty, thanks for going through that with me. Are you ready to start grading your cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. We love CGC Cards. And if you're not sure how to like grade your cards, you can grade them with us. And you can select if you want them to go to PSA, CGC, SGC, Beckett, depending on your play. We track your gem rate for you. Got to be a premium member at nooffseason.com. We also have an amazing Discord where a lot of our premium members are sharing plays and suggestions, and it'll be interesting to see if I go on there for a support group about getting scammed. There's probably people that will help me with my Uber Eats coupon dilemma. Quick update on that before we go to vintage play of the month. Graham in the eBay DM right now is basically saying, Paul, you're going to get your money back. He says, here's his exact words, because I don't want to put words in his mouth. I did review the stories that you tagged us in, as well as your dispute, your claim. I've also reported the seller as well. So eBay has reported this seller. That's good. I can assure that we will help make sure you get a refund on this. Okay, that seems pretty ironclad right there. Mm-hmm. I can assure that we will help make sure that you get a refund on this. Although the seller hasn't been the most cooperative thus far, I would say that's an understatement. We're literally not able to take action on the return until at least July 24th, which is Thursday. So I got it.
Which means you'll have your money by the time the National comes around.
And that's what I was hoping for, Lefty. And then I could go give Mike Nett a big hug and be like, Mike, I'm not disappointed anymore. All right. So vintage play of the month. Paul and Lefty each research and pick a vintage play for that month. LeBron 2003 white suit, tops 221, PSA 9.
What an ugly card.
Least favorite cards of all time. Got to rub
what
it in
an
Lefty's
amazing
face.
dude.
The white suit holding up the ugly Cleveland jersey. Sorry, Ryan Painter and everyone else in Cleveland. Ugly jersey. PSA 9, pop 8444. Available all the time, by the way. So when you look at this auction page on nooffseason.com, available in auctions all the time. You can get it for the target cost of $440, average price in the last 30 days. And the tricky part, you're going to want to run this through our card analyzer and predictor tool because you're trying to get a BGS 9.5. That's what you're trying to do. The last sale of a BGS 9.5 is $1,000, Lefty. That's more than a double up. But the average in the last 30 days, which you also have to look at, is 767. So this card, and that's probably due to subgrades, right? Not all BGS 9.5s are created equal because of the subgrades. But the last two sales of this card, interestingly enough, a week apart. One was 2 weeks ago, one was a week ago, each for $1,000. So easy card to buy, easy card to sell. You just got to really use our card analyzer and predictor tool to figure out, does it have a chance at a BGS 9.5? That's going to be the hardest thing, right? I think the hardest thing is BGS 9.5. Now, the reason why I started with this play, I got to remind everybody, because I think a lot of people coming in new might be like, well, how does this dude think we're going to go from a PSA 9 to a BGS 9.5? Here's how. Years of me making the mistake. Again, what's the theme of Lefty's of the show today, Lefty? Learning from Paul's mistakes. Years of me making the mistake of trying to cross over from a BGS 9.5 to a PSA 10 and getting white. What? A PSA 9. So then I thought, what if we just reverse that fucker and go from PSA 9 to BGS 9.5? It's possible because BGS 9.5s have come back as PSA 9s. So why wouldn't it go the other way? Lefty, what do you think about my LeBron play? And then what do you got for your vintage play of the month?
I love the LeBron play. No matter how ugly I think this card is, I have been on record many times glazing LeBron. So I'm in. I'm in. Someday I will have one of these, and someday it will be great. But I have not had one yet. I did, however, dip into one of the cards this year that I thought I was a someday on, and it was a Steph Curry rookie that I made money on. So, but this one is another one of those someday cards for me. A has-been card and a someday card for me is the one I want to bring up. It is a card that's on our that is also in our rankings from the newly updated
PSA 9 to BGS 9.5 tab.
Yes, that tab. Yes, this card is in that tab. This is the Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Upper Deck 1 PSA 9. So if we look at this card, the buy-in is a $233 buy-in. The upside is pretty high. I mean, there's a 36% return rate on this card if you get a 9.5. And I want to offer some interesting details other than that. I've noticed that this card, not only can you make the play in the BGS 9.5, but there are other tempting ways to move at this card.
Ooh, I like this. Do tell.
First off, there are 32,479 PSA 9s of this card. Now,
I love that.
That is amazing. What? Primarily because you've got the pick of the lot, my man. You can go. This is like, you can go to a warehouse and basically order a PSA 9 straight from the factory. That's basically what this is. This pop count is so high, and they are very, very regularly traded. Now, I charted on, I went to our old trusty friends at Market Movers, and I put all these cards in the same chart. And interestingly enough, I saw a couple of anomalies. One, I noticed that you can also make a pretty good return on this card going to a CGC 9.5.
Love that. Our friends at CGC
9.5. A CGC 9.5 previous sale $307. Not quite the juicy turnaround that we've had previously, but there is another option if we get stuck with this card. If you don't feel like you can, if you get it out of a vintage PSA 9, the play doesn't work or anything like that, we can turn it back into the CGC 9.5 potentially at $307 on the last 365 days. The problem with that is the pop count's a ton lower. And so there's only been one sale of that card in the last 365 days, which I would argue helps you, because I think you can put this card on there in a CGC 9.5 at maybe $400, and I could see how that card gets bought. Here's where my theory gets pretty interesting, though. In the last 365 days, look at what this card has done from a PSA 10 standpoint.
Yeah, it's gone up significantly.
A lot. How often have you seen a PSA 10 go up $2,000 in a year?
Multiple
of a vintage
sales,
card, of a vintage card. So I would actually
not since 2021.
Exactly. So I would actually wager that there are not only is this a vintage play from a PSA 9 to 9.5 standpoint, I would imagine that there are some ways to get in on how the market is high on this card in general. The other sales have not reflected that necessarily, but I would say that's because of pop count. There's 4,211 PSA 10s of this card, and they are up $2,000 in a year. I would argue that gives me the likelihood to go to the CGC 9.5 and make my own comp for it. And I think that says it's going to be closer to 725 than 307.
Yeah, that's a great call, Lefty. I mean, the confidence that this man is showing on this show to make his own comp is through the roof. I love that. I'm going to make my own comp. You know, that's like what we're all about to do with a bunch of Arch Manning cards. We're about to make our own comps. Lefty's going to do it with a Griffey. This is a great play. I like the so
Let me ask you this, Paul. Why do you think this card has gone up $2,000 in a year?
I have no idea. I don't even
It's
have
not like Griffey has been all over the world.
I don't even have a theory because of what you said. I mean, I guess the only thing I can come up with is that there are people are prospecting on this card being a card that in the future is like a significant vintage stock.
I would agree. If you're going to have one that's going to be a big stock in the future, this would be like, if I'm putting, a index of like the top 500 cards that are going to be in an investment portfolio, this is going to be in there.
Yeah.
But what a run in the last year. I wish we had bought like 700 of them at $2,000.
No kidding. I don't know. I didn't see that one coming. I think those are plays that we ignore because there's no selling marker for it. And that's what makes it tricky. Like, they're few and far between, I think, is why we ignore them. Like, we just don't, you can only pay attention to so much in the card market, but it's good to see that. It's awesome to see that. And maybe there's a pattern in vintage cards somewhere that we can find to help us find the next one. But this is an outstanding card. It's an outstanding play. It's always a card that people want. Did not see the PSA 10 doubling in value coming over a year period. That's amazing. I like the idea of getting into the PSA 9s for all the options that you pointed out. I like that there's sort of also safety in the PSA 9 in that it's a card that you can buy over and over again. So if you just want action all the time, but you don't necessarily want to be taking risks all the time, that's a great card to get into. So yeah, Lefty, I love it. Anything else on this one, man?
Like, this is one of the ones that the pop count is so high. You could probably just go on auctions all day long and do a final bid of 225 or 200 and just wait till you win one.
Yep.
Make your margins better. Don't overpay on this card for sure, because there's so many of them. You don't have to.
Yeah. Make it 250 so that you get the authenticity guarantee.
Oh yeah. Good
point.
And
then, don't make it,
and don't buy it from Canada.
Make it 249 from Canada. You get an Uber Eats card. I don't know if this Uber Eats, this is the infamous Uber Eats, dude, by the way.
Bring that to Chicago. I'm going to need to see it in person.
Oh, I'm bringing it for sure. French on the back because, Canadian seller, Canadian scammer, English on the front. I was going to check for an expiration date because it would have been even better if it was an expired Uber Eats coupon, but
it's so funny.
It doesn't have an expiration date. So, but I mean, again, like I said, I use DoorDash. So,
but are you going to just open an Uber Eats account? Just go?
Here's the question. That's a good question. What I was thinking of is,
let's order Uber Eats at the National.
If I use it, then can I still get a refund for my Jordan card? Because if I use it and then return it, then the scammer could be like, well, now it's an Uber Eats coupon that's been used. So I should get, that could just get confusing. Obviously, true. Getting silly with it. We probably, once I get my money back, we should probably treat ourselves to some Uber Eats.
Absolutely.
In Chicago. You and I and Turner. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. We're going to see Mosaic Joe. Mosaic Joe actually likes the Griffey card as well. And I learned something from Mosaic Joe. Back in the day, we had something called the Sports Card Strategy Show and Tell. Mm-hmm. And Joe submitted something that it was a Griffey card, and he noted the hologram on the back of it. So on the back of these up deck cards, as Lefty calls them,
up deck,
there is a hologram. It's a diamond in the bottom. for this 1989 set. To get a 10, the hologram has to be perfectly centered within the hologram space. The diamond has to be centered within the diamond centering of the card. So that like, shout out to Joe, shout out to Lefty. I think if you're buying these Griffey cards, it's a good thing, or the LeBron or any card that you're trying to do the PSA 9 to BGS 9.5 or any other grading company play, is like, do Lefty's old tip, which is look at a photo of the card and the slab that you're trying to achieve and compare it, you know? Also remember that nooffseason.com is the only place on the planet with sports card rankings, updated in real time, sorted by the ROI percentage you're likely to make in the future. Now, when you click on each card in our rankings, it takes you to auctions ending soonest for that card. I already said that, but that was a read. And earlier when I said that, it was not a read. That's why I said it twice. So anyone who's mad at our long intro or whatever, just calm down. QA of the month pulled from the premium pod, Lefty. This is a good one. I think from last week. I don't know. I blacked out because I got scammed. So, so I think it's from last week. Let me see. This is from George T. Yeah, it was from last week.
And in the midst of all your uncertainty last week, I accidentally didn't make it to the premium pod. Man, I'm so sorry.
This was filmed. The question I'm about to show from the premium pod was definitely when I was blacking out. And then this past week, Lefty no-showed, maybe because I blacked out the week before. I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, this guy's volatile. He's out fighting crime.
Just giving you so many reasons to subscribe to nooffseason.com. All right. What price should you start your eBay auction at is the name of this show. But the question is, what's the difference between Optic Holo Preview from Donruss and Optic Holo from Optic? Is one better than the other? Does pop count matter? I thought George T did a great job of asking this question. So here it is. And this is our last question of the show. Can you explain what card type has more value for NFL cards? I heard that the Optic Preview is less valuable than the regular Optic that comes out later in the season, but I also heard the opposite way as well. I understand the Optic Preview is the first card to come out for the rookie cards. Am I correct that the Optic Preview has less cards printed out than the regular Optic that come out for the rookie and would be more sought after? So he gives an example. We'll just read his example. Tua Tagovailoa 2020 Optic Preview Holo PSA 10. This card has a pop 72 in PSA 10. The Optic Holo 152 PSA 10 has an 1802 PSA. Wouldn't it be better to have the Optic Preview card since there are less PSA 10s? I'm glad you gave the Tua example because I actually was going to answer it in a slightly different way until you get there's a couple different angles here. It's going to be another long answer. Buckle up, everybody. So when the release calendar comes out, Donruss comes out first. And this could change in the future because we all know we're moving to Fanatics here in a minute, but these Panini releases have gone this way. Donruss comes out first. In Donruss, for example, this year, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, all those guys, that rookie class, they had Optic Holo Preview cards come out in Donruss. That was back in, I think those cards came out during the football season. I think they were out in the fall, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, Optic just came out this summer. So that's 8 months later, give or take, 7 or 8 months later. So what you have in the several month period between those two releases is you just have a smaller supply of their Optic Holo, right? Yes, they're two different cards. Make no mistake. They are two different cards. One is an Optic Holo Preview. The other is an Optic Holo. They come out of two different releases. But really, the principles that we're looking at here is that you have smaller supply for a 6-ish month period. And because you have that smaller supply, you have a higher price on not only the raw, but the graded Optic Holo preview cards. Eventually, over time, as more months and years go by, so right now, what's happening is the actual Optic Holos of Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams have hit the market. Many of them are being graded right now. Within 3 to 4 months, there's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of them having already been graded at that point. So by the time we get to, say, October, the price difference between this past year's Optic Holo preview and Optic Holo will have come much closer together. So really the runway that the Optic Holo preview actually has is in that release calendar before the Optic Holo comes out, generally. Okay. That's not to say that you're not going to be able to find some bigger discrepancies between maybe PSA 10 versions of the two several years down the road. Like you're doing maybe with your Tua example. So when it comes down to it, your Tua example, you're going to make your money on the buy side on either of these two cards. So regardless of which card you pick, they're essentially the same card. One has a lower pop count. They might sell for different prices, but you're going to make your money on the buy side, meaning if you buy it for under comps or you buy it in an auction at the right time with a selling marker in mind, it's not going to matter which of the two that you have, whether or not one's a pop 72 and one's a pop 1802. I'm going to look up some pricing and hand it over to Lefty for his take on this whole deal. And then we'll circle back on a final answer here.
Yeah, I've also done some pricing scanning here. And I chose to do a guy for the reference. I chose to do a guy that is recent and a guy that's not. So I chose to do Joe Burrow, who's definitely got a ton of cards, and I chose to do Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels' pop count on his Holo right now, just the Optic Holo, is 55. So the PSA 10 of a Holo, regular Optic Holo, 55 pop count. The pop count for the Optic Preview is 206. So you would know that because of them being 4x amount, it is $243 rather than $450. So the price count on Jaden Daniels is significant difference, but also the pop count is significant difference, probably because, and I would imagine if you just were to look at the total grading count of both of those cards, just like what Paul was saying, the graded Optic Holo Preview would be significantly more than the graded Optic Holo not preview. Now, I decided to go to Joe Burrow as well because I remember the Optic Preview being a card that I've had previously for Joe Burrow. Now, the Optic Holo regular for Joe Burrow years out is almost 2,000 in a PSA 10. The Optic Preview for Joe Burrow, the preview, is only 81. So very, very significant pop count for Joe Burrow specifically. And maybe that's because it was 2020 and things have changed since then. But even still, even with a massive, massive population difference, there's only a $30 difference. The Joe Burrow preview is $390 over the last 365 days. And Joe Burrow's is Optic regular that's, almost 2,000 more in pop count than the other card is only $35 less at $365.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And then like the Tua example, his Donruss Optic Preview Holo sold for $48 a month ago. And the average sale price of his Optic Holo over the last 30 days is around $63. So 48 for the Pop 72 card. And obviously that's not going to sell as often because there's only 72 of them, but $20 more essentially, or $15-$20 more for the Pop 1802 card. So this is a case where I think both Lefty and I are kind of using different examples to say the same thing. There's really no different play between the two. There's nothing really to it. It just happens to be two different cards out of different releases that are really similar to each other that kind of do the same. In order to make money on either of them, you have to do the same thing, which is you have to look at what can I buy for under comps, or can I buy in an auction with a selling marker in mind for Jordan Love is a good example to me. I think his Optic Holo PSA 10, not the preview, but just the regular Optic Holo PSA 10, I think that's going to go up. I think that's going to go up during this football season. It's gone down to like around $150 card ish. And I think that's legitimately like a $250 card. So like you're going to have to do something like that, whether it's the preview of a player or whether it's the actual Optic Holo of a player. And this is where I think it's a good example of like where pop count might be a little bit overrated. Pop 72 seems better than a pop 1802, but it sells for $20 less because there's not as much sales data. Like it's not selling as often. So there's not as much buyer. There has to be like buyer confidence in getting a card, right? So anyway, that's good. That's a great question. All right, Lefty. I mean, does it get any better than the Sports Card Strategy Show? I really don't think it does. And you are muted.
Gah! I haven't had that happen to me since freaking 2020, bro.
Does it get any better than the Sports Card Strategy Show? I don't think so. I think people are yelling at their podcast apps right now. No, it doesn't, Paul. It doesn't get any better than Lefty and you.
It doesn't.
It
doesn't get any better than this because we have a 2.5 minute intro. That's why.
2.5 minute intro, paying $2K for an Uber Eats coupon. We're smart. You should listen to us. We love all of you. Have a great day. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you enjoyed the content on today's show, there's plenty more waiting for you at nooffseason.com. Just go to nooffseason.com right now. You get our formula-based sports card rankings, sports card school, inventory tracker, the ability to grade with us, and the premium podcast where we answer an unlimited amount of your questions. Check it out right now at nooffseason.com. For everyone at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Thanks again for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.